Have you ever gotten out to your campsite, started putting everything together and looked around and realized that you left something at home? In this video, I'm going to show you a surefire way to make sure that that never happens to you again. Hey there, Trevor again here from the Montana Style Outdoor channel. And in this channel, we help you find recipes, products, and gear to make sure that you have an incredible camping experience. And if you're new here, I hope you consider subscribing. So let's get into the video this week. In the last few weeks, we've been working on some videos going over all the essentials that you need to have before you get out into your campsite to make sure you have a great experience. And probably one of the most important things is having a good first aid kit. I don't know how many times I've been trying to tie off a line or whatever, had a pocket knife, skinned myself, cut myself, burned myself. So having a really good first aid kit is absolutely essential. And what I use is I always use this checklist. I never forget my checklist. I've been camping for years, and you would think that I would automatically just know exactly what I need, but inevitably I forget something every single time. So this is kind of the basics that I make sure that I have in my truck, in my camper, in my tent. I have it somewhere with me every single time that I go. And the number one thing is make sure you have sunscreen. Nothing worse than day one, beautiful campsite, get out, you're relaxing, you fall asleep in your chair, you wake up and you are sunburned so bad that you have to go home and your trip is ruined. And the next thing that's really, really important is bug spray and bug repellent. And there's a lot of them on the market. There's some natural ones. In the future, I'm going to do a video on a couple of different ways that I make some that I can throw in the fire that repel the mosquitoes and the bugs really well. But make sure you have some kind of bug spray. You just don't want to be out there without it. Mosquitoes and things like that will ruin your trip faster than anything that I know of. And then you also have to have some afterbite, because even with the spray, sometimes you're going to get a mosquito bite or multiple mosquito bites. And especially if you have little ones. I have a little grandson, he gets mosquito bite and he starts itching and crying, and it just, you need some afterbite. So you can get that at most any Walgreens or any place like that. Another thing to bring is I always bring a big bottle of hand sanitizer, because there's nothing dirtier than being out in the woods, you're touching stuff, and before you eat or whatever, get some hand sanitizer, keep your hands clean, and that way you don't get sick and you'll just feel so much better having clean. Alcohol wipes are another thing that you need to have. Keep those around for, if you get a scrape or whatever, you can clean it really good. It's just really, really important to have some alcohol wipes and make sure that's in your kit. Also, a little hydrogen peroxide. I usually downscale everything, so I buy the big bottles at like Walmart or wherever, and then I have some small camping bottles. I'll put a link to those things below of the little bottles that I use, and then you get a cut or whatever, you can use a little bit of peroxide on it, clean it out really good. You don't get infection, and your camping trip goes on smooth and nobody gets sick. Another thing that you wouldn't think that you would need or don't think about it very often is I always take some eye drops, because it seems like I get around the campfire, smoke irritates my eyes or something gets in my eyes. Having some eye drops or some eye wash to clean out your eyes, it really is important, and it's something that you'll use, and it's something that's not on most people's list, but I never forget it. This is something that you don't necessarily have to have in your kit, but I always keep one. They're not very expensive. Is I have a thermometer, because sometimes you don't know if you're starting to get sick, or if something happens and you're out and you're just a long ways away from your house. Having that thermometer just to check to see if one of your kids isn't feeling good or you're not feeling good, it's really important. It's nice to have. The next thing is bring chapstick. Always make sure you bring some chapstick or lip balm. Without it, you're going to really, really be bummed out. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to make sure that you have on your list is some Tylenol and all your personal medications. So if you're taking blood pressure medicine or whatever you have, make sure that you have enough to get you by for your whole camping trip and maybe an extra day. You want to make sure that you have a big enough supply so you're not going to run out. I've had stuff spill on my medicine before. It's just, you just want to have enough to have an extra. And that's where the list comes in handy. I always take some type of sinus medicine like Sudafed or something like that. I'm not a doctor, I'm not recommending any particular medication, but I always have something, because a lot of times campfires and things like that, I'll get stuffy or whatever and I won't be able to breathe good at night. Having those in my kit, it's really, really handy. Also Neosporin. Neosporin and Band-Aid. So you've got the peroxide, you've cleaned up the cut, you put a little Neosporin on it, put a Band-Aid on it, you're good to go, you're back to doing what you're doing in 5 minutes. Don't forget your Neosporin and Band-Aids. And don't forget some gauze strips. Now what's nice is there are kits out there. I will put a link below to like a complete kit that you can buy. But what I usually do is I've taken one of those, and as things I've used, I just replace them and put them back. And this is something that not everybody has in their kit, but it's always really nice to have, is some of those chemical hot and cold packs. You can break them and have ice instantly. You know, I've sprained my ankles, you name it, it's happened out on the trip. It's really nice to have 1 or 2 of those in your pack. And a little icy hot for sore muscles is, if you're hiking, you get to the end of the night, the next morning you wake up and you're really sore, having some icy hot is really nice to have in your kit. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please consider subscribing, and we're going to put out some more how-to videos here in the future and continue on this list and make sure that you have everything that you need for an awesome camping experience. Have a great day. See you in the next video.